Normally, squirrels tend to be cautious around humans, avoiding any interaction. That's why it was so intriguing when one squirrel approached a man, seemingly begging for assistance. What unfolded next was nothing short of extraordinary. Michael cherished his daily walks in the park near his home. These outings allowed him to breathe in fresh air while staying active, which was especially important during the height of the pandemic. He relished the opportunity to observe the park's wildlife, including the various animals and birds that called it home. Among these creatures were squirrels, agile and nimble, often seen darting about in the trees. These squirrels typically kept their distance from humans, scurrying away if anyone approached or seemed to be heading their way. In certain cases, squirrels living in close proximity to people could become relatively tame, familiarizing themselves with the humans who frequented their environment. However, this familiarity often occurred in more isolated settings, where the squirrels had the chance to bond with a particular individual. In the park Michael visited, though, the squirrels maintained a cautious distance from people due to the multitude of visitors. They stuck together with their own kind, avoiding close human interaction, given the high human traffic and the absence of a consistent individual they could bond with. The park offered an abundance of natural resources, including food, trees, and water, so these squirrels had no pressing need for human assistance, except for one small squirrel who found herself in dire straits. One pleasant day in the park, while Michael was leisurely strolling, he noticed something unusual at his feet. He looked down in surprise to find a squirrel circling around him. It was the first time a park squirrel had ventured so near to him, and he found it both endearing and perplexing. Attempting to step aside, Michael found that the squirrel continued to stay close, inspecting him and even tugging at his pant leg, a truly bizarre behavior. With few other people around, it made sense for the squirrel to approach Michael. Initially, he assumed the squirrel might be searching for water or food. Although he knew it wasn't advisable to feed wild animals, he decided to offer the squirrel some water in his bottle cap, placing it on the ground beside her. To his surprise, she disregarded the water and persistently sought his attention. It became evident that her needs extended beyond a simple drink. Michael carried some unsalted nuts in his pocket, thinking that if the squirrel was hungry enough to beg for human food, it might suffice. However, she once again ignored the offer and persistently tried to communicate with him. This peculiar interaction left Michael puzzled and intrigued. As he resumed walking, the persistent squirrel darted in front of him but repeatedly glanced back, seemingly checking if Michael was following. Curiosity piqued, he decided to follow her. She led him into a wooded section of the park, across large rocks and beneath a massive tree. For a moment, it seemed he had lost her, but as he lagged behind, she resurfaced to check on his progress and waited for him to catch up. Their journey took them to a cluster of large trees, and the squirrel directed Michael toward a sizable bush beneath one of these trees. As he approached, he noticed a tiny injured baby squirrel nestled beneath the foliage. The baby had a leg injury, making mobility difficult. The adult squirrel gazed at Michael, seemingly beseeching him for assistance. Initially, Michael found himself uncertain about how to assist the injured baby squirrel. He felt somewhat clueless regarding the proper care for a wounded squirrel, but was determined not to let down the mother squirrel who had so earnestly sought his help. Earning her trust was important to him. She scanned the park's surroundings. Michael spotted a large cat perched within one of the trees, closely observing the squirrels. Each time the cat inched closer, the mother squirrel would position herself behind Michael, attempting to shield her injured baby. It appeared that the cat had made an attempt to attack the squirrels, and the mother had bravely fended it off, but the baby was already injured. She recognized the need to seek help to protect her young one from the lurking feline threat, which is where Michael came into play. Michael had a genuine affection for all animals. During the long months of isolation, he had even contemplated adopting a house cat. However, at this moment, he set aside his friendly disposition toward animals and focused on the safety of the squirrel mother and her baby. He approached the tree housing the cat and gently attempted to coax it down without causing alarm. The cat examined Michael briefly, stretched, and then leaped from the branches. Michael shooed it away, making his intentions clear. Initially, the cat did not seem perturbed by Michael's efforts. It attempted to approach him by rubbing against his legs, even as he attempted to chase it away. However, suddenly, the cat began to stealthily approach the squirrels, adopting a predatory posture as if preparing to pounce. Michael recognized the need to be firmer in dealing with the cat. He raised his voice and became less gentle in his attempts to drive it away. Finally, the cat retreated, initially pausing at a distance before fleeing completely. With the cat now at bay, Michael returned to the squirrel and her immobile baby. While they were safe for the time being, the baby still required medical attention and care beyond Michael's capabilities. He promptly contacted a local animal rescue organization to assess the squirrel's condition and provide the necessary aid. As he awaited their arrival, Michael remained by the squirrel's side to ensure their well-being. It proved to be a unique and serene experience to spend time with these wild animals who displayed remarkable calmness in his presence. The mother squirrel seemed to sense that she could relax with her newfound human friend vigilantly watching over them. Upon the arrival of the rescue team, they took the mother and her baby for the needed medical care to mend the baby squirrel's injured leg. Thanks to the mother's immense courage and the assistance of their newfound friend, both mother and baby were now safe, and the baby could begin to heal. After a period of time, the rescue team informed Michael that the squirrels had fully recovered and were prepared to return to their natural habitat. Their plan was to release them in a different section of the park, away from the threat of the cat. However, Michael had a different idea. He lived adjacent to the park in a house with a substantial tree in the backyard. Instead of allowing the squirrels to return directly to the park, he asked the rescue team if they could consider an alternative. Michael proposed releasing the squirrels into the tree in his yard. This would grant them the option to venture across a small road back into the park they once called home, while also providing a safe environment for them to readjust to life in the wild. The rescue team agreed, and one early morning, they set the squirrels free in the tall tree within Michael's yard. Though the baby squirrel had grown considerably, Michael felt a strong attachment to both mother and baby. They resided in his yard for an extended period, but eventually they appeared to move on. With the onset of winter, sightings of the squirrels, even those in the park, became scarce. However, when summer returned, his tree once again welcomed daily visits from squirrels. Michael liked to believe that his old friends were among those who came to visit.